Hello, this is Shannon Williams. I'm going over my Project 4 assignment. This is my about here. I don't know that I changed very much except for this right here. After learning the calculation function here, I decided that it's a lot easier just to write the 100% divided by 3 minus the 2 rems to give you all the spacing that you need for this. These are all H2s, a little bit of extra font just to make them a heavier font. And this is my contact. Here. I don't think I changed anything in this one because it looked pretty good to begin with. I didn't use any IDs or classes. And this is my blog. I changed my blog, as you can see. I changed the sections where I didn't have to use IDs, and I had 2 sections here, this being 1 section, and then this over here being 2. And so I used the nth of type, number 2, and I used a calculation of 100% divided by 3 minus 2 rems. And the first section is 2/3, so 1/3 times 2, and this is just 1/3 to have them line up, and 2/3 and 1/3. And again, I did not use any IDs or classes. This is the footer. And here again, I did an article, the whole entire article. It was just one article, and I wanted it divided into thirds, so I used the calculation function at 100% divided by 3 minus 2 rems, and that gives a nice lined up feature. And then I used the styled the input here, and the HTML I used the mail code where you can go straight here to go to the mail and email. And this is my header. This is basically the logo here, and then 2 navs, one stacked on the other. So instead of using IDs, I used 1 nav, text align to the right, so everything stacks up nice and even over on this side. And then I used the first child of nav, since there were 2 of them, so this would be the first child, and it's doing the same thing. Text transforming into uppercase, little padding to separate them out, and so there's no IDs or classes here either. I used the first child. This one is the feature, and I don't know that I changed anything here. No, because it looked pretty good. And this is my first feature. I did change this one a little bit around. I did have these as lists. I changed them to an article with paragraphs in them. I separated it out into fourths, so it's 25%. All of them are 25% minus 2 rems. I floated it all left so they'd stack next to each other. And then I took all the IDs out and made them articles. I had such a hard time trying to figure out how to do nth of child to get these all separate, and I found that I just was going to have to use IDs for this one because I needed each one to be a different color, and I just don't know why I couldn't figure it out. I worked on this one for about an hour. But the articles and the paragraphs both have a calculation of 25%, so they are 1/4 of the thing with the different backgrounds. And then this is my CTA here. Wait a minute. This is my CTA here. I worked on this one for a while too, just trying to figure out how to get everything to line up. I used a lot of nth child to get everything to be different colors. This article here is the total article down here at 25%, and then I used the first article, the first child, second child, third child, and fourth child. So I did not have to use an ID, but they all needed a separate background color. So that's how I accomplished that. And then I used paragraphs only and last child to get some of this lined up. I did have to use 2 IDs for these right here, trying to line them up. Just couldn't figure that one out. And then there's sections. There's 1 section, 2, 3, and 4 sections. So I split them into nth child, 2 and 3. Did the image align center because I needed it to stay right here, and put a little border radius on it to give it a little style. And then my last one is this one here. I changed this one in a way to where they were articles, so I could make this one article. This image is one article that it takes up 2/3 of the page by using the calculation function at 100% divided by 3 is 1/3 times 2, so it's 2/3. And then the last article, the last child article, is 100% divided by 3, which is 1/3. And so I was able to style them differently without having to use IDs and selectors. I also did the H1s because both of these here are H1s. So I styled this one with H1 and then styled the second one with last of type, because there were only 2 H1s on there, so it's just one and then the last one. Same thing with the paragraph. This is one paragraph, this is another paragraph. So we had the first one and then the last of type. So I did learn a whole lot about what I was doing, and I changed a few things to make them a little better, a little different.